Welcome to energy demands. Let's go look into this a little bit more deeply. So most of the energy you use comes from burning fossil fuels such as oil or coal, sorry. The energy in homes, offices and factories is mostly supplied by gas or by electricity generated in coal or gas-fired power stations. Oil is needed to keep road vehicles, ships and aeroplanes moving. Burning 1 kilogram of fossil fuel releases about 30 million joules of energy. You use about 5,000 joules of energy each second, which is about 150,000 million joules each year. Because of the inefficiencies and in how energy is distributed and used, a staggering 10,000 kilograms of fuel is used each year to supply the energy needed just for you, or in other words, one person. Figure 1, which we can see here on the right-hand side, shows how the global demand for energy is met. Fossil fuels are extracted from underground or under the seabed and then transported to oil refineries and power stations. Much of the electricity you use is generated in fossil fuel power stations. So for example, all the electricity that you've got in your house, how does that energy get to your house? Well, there are large, huge power stations dotted around the country and around the world actually burn fossil fuels to make sure that we have actually a constant supply of electricity. Instead of fossil fuels, some power stations use biofuels or nuclear fuel. Fossil fuels and nuclear fuel are non-renewable because they cannot be replaced. Their use is causing major environmental problems and increasing the levels of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now, the reason why carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is so dangerous is because when we burn fossil fuel, that creates carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide then blocks the heat from the earth going out into space. As a result, we have what we call global warming. So inside a power station, in coal or oil-fired power stations, and in most gas-fired power stations, the burning fuel heats water in a boiler. This produces steam. The steam drives a turbine that turns an electricity generator. Coal, oil, and gas are fossil fuels, which are fuels that come from long dead animals and plants over many millions of years. Biofuels. Methane gas can be collected from cows or animal manure, from sewage works, decaying rubbish, and other sources. It can be used in small gas-fired power stations. Methane from these sources is an example of what we call a biofuel. And a biofuel is any fuel taken from living or recently living organisms. Animal waste is an example of a biofuel. Biofuels can be used instead of fossil fuel in modified engines for transport and in generators at power stations. Biodiesel uses waste vegetable oil and plants such as rapeseed. Other examples of biofuels and ethanol from fermented sugarcane, straw, nutshells, and wood chips. These are just examples of biofuels. So a biofuel is renewable because its biological source either regrows vegetation or is continually produced, such as sewage and rubbish. This means it is used at the same rate that it is replaced. Carbon neutral biofuels, because in theory, the carbon that the living organism takes in from the atmosphere as carbon dioxide can balance the amount that is released when the biofuel is burned. So biofuel, in a sense, is a good option to use as opposed to renewable, as opposed to fossil fuels, because it's natural and it can be replaced and it's balanced out. However, not enough biofuel at this moment in time can be produced in the world or a particular country to actually make sure that that supplies a constant supply of energy for the country. So this particular figure 1, world energy demand and sources of energy in 2013, is quite old, but gives you an example. The coal was 31%, oil was 31%, gas took up 24%. Good luck with the rest of the questions, and we'll review these in our next class. Thank you.